Hey, EZGZ here. Thought I'd throw up a quick video on how to prevent these things from coming off your pole when you're out snowshoeing. It's happened to me 2 years in a row. I was lucky enough to find them. My friend Bob was along and he found them. So you can't always have Bob with you. So best to just prevent that from happening, and I got a couple ideas I want to share with you. I thought this might also be a good time to do a little comparison between two different price ranges on these ski poles. So we'll do that while we're at it. The blue ones here are a Mountainsmith that I purchased several years ago for less than $20. And these white ones here are Atlas that I recently got at an outdoor sporting goods store in my area, and they were marked down from $39 to $31. But I think there's some noticeable features that will clarify the difference. Okay, the first thing we notice right off the bat is that the basket is quite a bit larger on the more expensive model. But first things first, let's go ahead and get to the initial problem of losing these baskets. And what I did on this basket, and this was my solution, my big revelation here, was taking some of this black vinyl electrical tape, which you can purchase in any electrical department at a hardware store, department store like Home Depot. Any place that sells electrical parts will have this electrician's tape. It does have sticky stuff on the one side, and you can tear it with your fingers, or you can cut it with a pair of scissors or pocket knife, whatever you want to do. Probably for neatness you might want to use some scissors so that it doesn't stretch it and deform it so much. All depends on your taste on that and preference. Now, I did, like I mentioned, lose this basket last year. I lost one of them, and I came home. I had that idea about using electrical tape, and I put some tape right around the base, and you can see where this one maybe tried to unscrew, but it got caught in the tape and didn't come all the way off. I'm not sure if that was the way I put it on or it trying to come off. And you wouldn't really think it would have a tendency to do that, but days like yesterday when I went up, the top layer of snow was kind of crusty, and you do kind of move your arms around. So I obviously lost it, so I guess it does happen. I'm sure I'm not the first. So let's put this one, let's redo it, and I'm going to put it on. And I found that if you just try to tighten it a little bit more, use a little bit, I just stripped it. I went beyond it, and if you keep doing that, you're going to totally trash those that threaded area on the inside. And if you want to prevent that, just snug it up, and then keep an eye on it when you're out there on the trail. And then we'll just take, I'm right-handed, so I'm not even going to take that other tape off that I put on there last year. And I'm trying to do this while looking through the viewfinder, so we'll see how I do here. So I evidently, even though I had some on here, I didn't build it up enough. And you don't have to put that much on there. You just want to get it covered. I might have to do this over because it's hard. The camera and the viewfinder are in two different spots. Kind of feeling my way along. So anyhow, I think pretty obvious you get the idea here. Now let's go ahead and tear that off and see if it wants to come off. See, it stops. It's running into the tape. So I think that's a good thing, and I think that I'm going to stick with that system to for the future. So okay, what are the difference in one set of poles over the other? You know, I'm cheap just like everybody else, try to get off, and I wasn't really sure whether I'd like so getting into the snowshoeing. So you don't want to fork out a lot of money. A friend let me borrow his poles, and shoes, pair set that he had, because he had upgraded, and I went out and I really had a great time. So I think most of us get started that way, and there's nothing wrong with buying some cheap poles, because you might find yourself in that exact same situation where you want to invite a friend along who doesn't have any equipment, and bingo, now you've got a use, or you might lose something, etc., etc. The real old poles that weren't telescopic and adjustable, I did take a friend with me one time, and they had the full length poles. Ended up poking a hole in my upholstery because they were actually wider than my car was, and we threw some gear on top of them or next to them, I can't remember what, but it wasn't too cool to come back and find a hole in your upholstery in the door panel. So anyhow, I have had this type where you take it apart. I have had those collapse on me when I put some weight on it, and you don't have to worry about it coming completely out of the pole. You can figure out how to put it back in. It's not the end of the world if you overextend it like I just did. But due to that style of mechanism, you can only, get it so tight, that twist lock feature. And actually, I don't know that you have to have a rigid pole to the proper length. You just want something to help you keep your balance in the event you're going to fall over. The main thing is comfort. Have it at a comfort level. Doesn't matter what the experts say you should or shouldn't do. You know, think of what's right for you and what's good for you. That's what you want to do in anything. But when you do store any of this type of equipment, release the tension on it and make it just barely minimum when you're storing it, so that when next time you go to use them, you haven't taken the memory out of that plastic by over tightening it and then loosening it to put in your car. I think in a scenario like that it would worsen with time. So keep that in mind as well. Always loosen up that tension. Now we've got this more expensive pole. This is a different brand. This is the Atlas brand, and you can see by the size of the tip, and I don't know that really makes a difference. Big tip, small tip. The idea of having some sort of metal would be for rocky areas, or if you're on ice, some hard type of surface that you think you might need a little traction on, and year-round use is what comes to my mind. The larger basket was fitted on the larger one, and I'm definitely going to do the electrical tape. I don't think I'll bother doing it right now, save some time. Now you can see this feature too. Now this uses a cam lock. It's loose right there, but as I extend this out and it gets into the full size of the tubing, you can hear how that snaps into place, and I think that gives you a more strength. And when you store it, you should leave it in the loose position or collapse it to the smaller diameter edge of the pipe where you're relieving that tension. Plastic, metal, everything has movement to it, but it will lose its memory over time if you subject it to that type of use. This also, it's actually a T. So you can see that, I don't know if you can see, but it is threaded, and you can actually adjust the tension, although it comes from the factory perfect and ready to go, and I would go with that. So for the difference in dollars, I feel like I'm getting a little lighter weight pole, I'm getting a different type of cam lock, I'm getting a larger basket, and I don't really care about the looks. Matter of fact, this is too bright for my taste. Both of them are. I think that if you're going out in the woods to view wildlife, that you don't really want things to attract attention. But let's be truthful. I wear glasses, and you've got your clothing, and you're making noise, and it's not like you're in full camo deer hunting with the whole idea being to sneak up on them. Most of the time these darn critters seem to know when you're around, and they're just as curious about you as you are them. Although when they start getting shot at and members of their family start showing up missing, I think they get a little leery. Now the grip on this is a little bit different type of material. The less expensive one has worked absolutely wonderful, good traction, and haven't had any issues or problems with it whatsoever. They both have adjustable nylon straps for the wrist. And just as a review, in case you don't know and you're just getting started out, you want to put your hand up from the bottom and then bring it down, and you want to loosen the tension on the strap and find that comfort spot, and then tighten up the strap on the back. I guess you can't see that, but my camera legs and things on the tripod are in the way. But you know, that way, you know, if you do start to fall, it's not just your grip and the strap is helping you, but you can quickly get out of it if you need to. But again, you just stick your hand up through the middle and pull it down, and just find a comfortable position for you. So I think I've worn out this topic about as far as I can. Don't forget the electrical tape. I'm sure there's some other ideas that you can come up as well. This one has the holes. You could use different types of hooks and clasps to attach it, and I think I'll be using mine in the summertime. So I do want this basket to be removable. It didn't say anything in the book about putting them on, but I'm sure if you ran them under the faucet under hot water, or actually dunked them in a pan of warm water, maybe not boiling, it would soften it up and you could push it up a little further, because it seems to get in a bind right there. And I definitely am going to put tape around mine, because I don't want to have to it's not so much a matter of the cost even of replacing. It's when you lose them, you're usually out on the trail, and you might need it. Might be the difference of falling down. I had a nice fall yesterday, and it was kind of fun. I felt myself start to go over, and I just realized it was going to happen, and I just relaxed a little bit. Instead of fighting it and twisting a muscle or twisting your joints, I just sort of relaxed, bent my knees, and went down, because those snowshoes, they don't turn, and they're not as agile as just being in your feet with boots on, you know. And so I just let myself fall down real easy, bent my knees, went with it, and it was kind of funny. I started laughing, and I put that on a video, and I'm going to attach that video with this one in a playlist. So I hope you enjoy all that, and enjoy your fun times in the snow. Take a friend, and thanks for watching, commenting, liking, subbing. EZGZ out. One last thing, the magic of Paracord. Here's some nice fluorescent stuff that my friend Bob gave to me when we were out hiking yesterday. It's always handy to have some of this stuff with you, and I had this around my neck holding my camera, because camera went down in the snow, and I was able to put it through the handhold on the camera. But you know, with these babies here, if you're gonna use them in the summertime, you know, lose them both together. That way they'll match when you get new ones, and they probably come in pairs. But the magic of Paracord. Boy, I love this stuff. It has a gazillion uses. Thanks again, folks. Hey folks, EZGZ here. Thought I'd make a video on how to prevent losing these baskets on the end of your ski poles. Seems to be a common thing. I've done it 2 years in a row. Luckily my friend Bob was along with me, and found them both times, so got an idea to prevent that from happening again. Also, also what? Oh, let's see.